it seems that our faith would actually support much of the evidence that can be revealed through science. Wouldn't you agree that the idea of an ever-going, infinite universe could be compared to the infinite mercy of God? And this is from Micah here in this year of mercy. What about that? Is there a connection?
Yes, you could. Yeah, you could actually make that comparison, and many people have, that since God is capable of, giving, infinite mercy, he also is infinite in mind, and that an infinite universe could easily be compatible with his infinite mercy. There's no problem there. So the problem isn't from the vantage point of faith. The problem is actually from the vantage point of philosophy, mathematics, and science. That's where the problem of the eternal universe comes in. First, with respect to science, and I'm not going to go through these proofs today, but future episodes we will, and just ask about it. From the vantage point of science, we have two things which present mitigating evidence to an eternal universe. Actually, we have three things. The abundance of dark energy in the universe, that's going to cause the universe, to expand forever, and we'll talk about why that indicates a beginning. Number two, the Borda-Vilenkin and Guth proof that I referred to in our previous episode, right? And I haven't explained that yet, but that's another scientific reason for believing in a beginning, that is to say, non-infinite universe. And then finally, the entropy evidence, which is also significant, indicating a beginning. So you have these three scientific kinds of evidence that mitigate an infinite universe, that point to a beginning. And that's a problem, not from the vantage point of faith, but from the vantage point of science. Secondly, there's a mathematical problem with an infinite universe, and the mathematical problem comes from a mathematician by the name of David Hilbert. Again, I'm not going to get into this today, but we can get into it in a future episode. But essentially, the Hilbertian argument distinguishes between a potential infinity and an actual infinity. A potential infinity is one that can keep on going forever. So you can get, you can go eternally into the future, right? There's nothing wrong with going eternally into the future. What's wrong is going back eternally into the past. Because, you see, the future hasn't happened yet. That's just infinite potential. But if you talk about infinite history or an infinite past, what winds up happening is you have to talk about an actual infinity of parts. And once you have an actual infinity of parts, strange things happen mathematically, which Hilbert, this guy, David Hilbert, one of the greatest mathematicians of all time, almost came up with the general theory of relativity himself, right? Hilbert actually discovers. And what are those strange properties? You can remove an infinite number of seconds from the infinite past, and you will never change anything in the totality. But that's impossible because every second that's happened in past history had to have been real and had to have occurred and had to be constitutive of the whole. Otherwise, you'd have things like Queen Elizabeth alive and dead at the same time. You need that second separation between Queen Elizabeth alive and Queen Elizabeth dead. Otherwise, the whole of history becomes contradictory. Now, if you take the Hilbertian argument and you apply it, just see what you've got here. You can't have a constitutive part if there's an infinite number of them in the past, or an actual infinity. But you have to have a constitutive part. Every second has to count to prevent history from becoming a set of contradictions. So what do we have? A real mathematical impossibility. So there are a lot of mathematicians who really do believe that an infinite past is an intrinsic contradiction, and will, frankly, as one of my metaphysics professors said a long time ago, it will make the entirety of history blow up. The entire thing will blow up. And so I just, I give you that for consideration. Right. And by the way, there's also some metaphysical problems we won't discuss today with an infinite past. So the problem, your question's good. It's not with faith, it's not with religion, not with the Catholic Church. It really is with science, mathematics, and logic.